usapin ngayon ang federalismo, kung saan nangangailangan ito ng malaking pagbabago sa konstitusyon.
Now, following the precedent set by Great Britain with her colonies, the Filipinos are to be given the opportunity of governing themselves.
Na nagiging batayan kung papaano pinamamahalaan ng isang bansa. Nakapaloob dito ang mga batas na nagiging pundasyon sa pagbuo ng isang gobyerno.
Sa loob ng 4 na araw, nangyari ang People Power Revolution. Lalo pang dumami ang mga taong pumunta sa EDSA at sumuporta sa panawagang patalsikin si Marcos. Doon na din dumating ang mga militar sakay ng mga tangkeng pandigma.
Throughout the centuries, our Constitution has been evolving like an extraordinary organism, adapting to our ever-growing nation's changing needs and values. And how does it do that? You may wonder. Well, my friends, through a process of amendments and revisions.
Buckle up because we're about to witness history being made. You see, an entire nation is about to flex its democratic muscles and give its constitution a glow up that will make all other countries' jaws drop.
So picture this, a country coming together like never before. Teachers, doctors, engineers, farmers, students, all brainstorming ideas to revamp their good old constitution. And trust me, it's not just some boring hush-hush affair happening behind closed doors. No way! This is a nationwide movement fueled by passion and undying desire for progress.
Absolutely, Prima. It's a topic that affects every Filipino, and understanding it is crucial. So, let's dive right in.
Alright, let's start with the basics. What is an amendment?
An amendment, as defined, is an isolated or piecemeal change in the Constitution. It's like making improvements or alterations for the better.
And how about a revision?
Revision is the big one. It's the revamp or rewriting of the entire Constitution. Think of it as giving the whole document a makeover.
Got it. Now, what about Constitutional Convention?
A constitutional convention is a body called together for a limited purpose, framing and adapting a new constitution for revising an old one. To carry out a revision, a constitutional convention is called together. This body is tasked with the responsibility of framing and adapting a new constitution or revising and amending an existing one.
But what about the power of the people?
That's where the concept of initiative comes in.
That's where the concept of initiative comes in. Initiative is the power of the people to propose amendments or enact legislation through election. There are different types, and one specifically focuses on proposing changes to the Constitution.
So when the people want to propose changes directly, it's called initiative of the Constitution.
Exactly. And to make sure it's fair, there's this interesting doctrine of fair and proper submission. It emphasizes the Constitution should be presented to the people as a whole, not in bits and pieces.
And how does plebiscite fit into all of this?
Plebiscite is the electoral process where an initiative on the Constitution is approved or rejected by the people. It's their way of saying yes or no to proposed changes.
However, there is an important principle called the doctrine of fair and proper submission. This doctrine emphasizes that the Constitution should be submitted to the people as a whole, not in fragments. It ensures that the people are well informed about the proposed amendments and have sufficient time to discuss their merits and demerits. Finally, the approval or rejection of an initiative on the Constitution is determined through a plebiscite, which is an electoral process. Amendments to or revision of the Constitution are crucial processes that shape the future of a nation. It is through these mechanisms that the voice of the people is heard and their aspirations are reflected in the fundamental laws of the land.
A revision involves the complete rewriting or overhauling of an entire instrument, such as a constitution. It aims to bring intensive changes and updates to the existing document.
On the other hand, an amendment is a change or alteration made within the lines of the original instrument. It focuses on improving specific parts of the Constitution or adding provisions that are deemed essential due to new conditions. In the case of Javellana versus Executive Secretary, the court explained that an amendment only envisions changes to specific provisions, not the entire Constitution. Its purpose is to improve certain aspects or eliminate obsolete parts that no longer serve the needs of the time.
Imagine the Constitution as a big book. An amendment is like editing specific chapters, while revision is rewriting the entire book for a fresh start.
Interesting analogy. And what does the court say about amendments?
Well, the court views amendments as changes to specific provisions, not an overhaul of the entire Constitution. It's about improving specific parts based on new conditions.
Now, where does the power to revise or amend the Constitution come from?
In Gonzalez versus Comelec, it's not part of the general legislative power. It's an inherent power of the people, who are the source of sovereignty.
So, how do we go about amending or revising the Constitution?
There are two crucial steps: proposal and ratification. Someone suggests changes, and the Filipino people, through a plebiscite, decide whether to accept or reject them. However, when the people themselves exercise the power to revise or amend the Constitution, their authority does not emanate from the Constitution. They are the very source of all powers of government, including the Constitution itself.
Let's break down the modes of proposing amendments. First up is the proposal by the Congress. This is where suggestions or proposal of amendment or revisions are initiated. There are three modes through which can be done.
Now, the first mode of proposing amendments through Congress is a proposal can be made by a vote of 3/4 of all its members. This means that a significant majority of Congress must support the proposed amendment or revision.
The second mode is through a constitutional convention. In this case, a separate convention is called to propose the amendments or revision. This convention consists of representatives who are specifically chosen for this purpose.
The third mode is through people's initiative. This allows the Filipino people to directly propose amendments to the Constitution. However, certain requirements and procedures must be followed for a people's initiative to be valid.
The second mode is through a constitutional convention, if one is called by Congress. The proposed amendments are presented to the convention, and a vote of 3/4 of its members is needed for ratification. It's important to note that the power to revise the Constitution is exclusively reserved for Congress as a constituent assembly or a constitutional convention if one is called.
Now, how about modes of revising the Constitution?
Similar modes, but there are key points. The people can't directly revise the Constitution. That power is reserved for the Congress or the Constitutional Convention.
That was a whirlwind journey to constitutional amendments and revisions.
We hope you learned and made the whole process a bit clearer.
Remember, understanding how our Constitution can change is crucial for every citizen.